Caroline Pover. I'm from the UK. I'm 15 months after one single dose of AstraZeneca. I'm an admin on a UK support group, UK Season Family, and I'm the author of this book, COVID Vaccine Adverse Reaction Survival Guide. I had about 40 different symptoms, and it's, what is it now, 15 months later, and I've got about 10 of those symptoms left. And then I discovered, quite by accident, something that helped. And my GP was very supportive throughout the whole process, actually. And she said, right, let's do tons of blood tests, and we'll do as many as we can and see if we can get to the bottom of it. The nurse said, are you going to be okay? Are you going to, you know, most people, they have this amount of blood taken and then they collapse and, you know, they faint. And I walked out of the doctor's surgery, and I actually, which is about 10 minutes away from here, and I actually walked all the way home, which I had not done until that point. And I thought, wow, no, actually, I feel fine. I feel better than fine. I feel like me again. This is really strange. And the best way of describing it was I felt cleaner, lighter, and brighter. Something just completely cleansed me. And I made some joke when I got home, and I said, oh, you know, maybe there was something about those medieval blood letters. You know, there's something in that after all. Didn't think anything of it, but over that month, the month after having that, I noticed, actually, I'm feeling like a little bit like the old me again, and I was a little bit more able to do some things and less fatigued, and things started improving. And then it got to, I think, the beginning of October, and I suddenly started going down again, and I thought, oh, well, that I just had my 50th birthday, and I thought maybe I didn't do much to celebrate, but even that was a bit too much. So I blamed it on that I started going backwards, and by the end of October I was back to square one again. And I thought, right, I have to try, does this actually work? And I went up to the hospital to just beg somebody to just take some blood out of me to try it. And the nurse there, she said I would do it, but I need a doctor to sign off on it. And the doctor, my GP wasn't there, and I tried to get hold of another doctor, and she actually hung up on me and refused to help me. And I tried to explain, you know, I just need to try this. And she was she was awful. She said, stop wasting my time. And she literally hung up. I got an email from somebody I had contacted, a private phlebotomist, and said, look, can you take some blood out of my arm? I hadn't expected to hear anything back, but she said, no, that's fine, we'll come and do it. So she arranged to come and do it. So I wasn't sure whether it was going to work or not. And she said, right, we'll take a pint out like you would if you were going to be donating blood, so you know that the body can cope with having a pint of blood taken out. So she put the needle in. She had a big bag that just filled up, weighed it while she was doing it. And while the tube was still in my arm, it just lifted, everything lifted. And I could not believe what it was like. I couldn't believe it. I came back, my personality came back, physically. It was like it restored, I can't say completely restored, because it doesn't, but it takes something away that is preventing me from functioning properly. And it operates on a level that's physical, cognitive, and emotional. It's really quite interesting, the impact it has. Now, since then, I've done it, I think 4 or 5 times. So I do it every 2 months. And the same thing happens every time. So I have this feeling, and it's still in my arm. And the last one I had, it happened at 270 mils, because I find it quite interesting to know when it shifts. And before, it was happening at about 400 mils, but this last one, it was at 270 mils. And it's like, whoosh, everything's gone. There are some negative ways it responds. For example, the first couple of times I had very intense diarrhea for 24 hours afterwards. And I thought, oh, that's quite interesting, looked it up. And that's related to your body going into that fight or flight mode, because even though logically we know we're going to be totally fine if we have a pint of blood removed and we donate it all the time, our body doesn't understand that we're not being attacked. The other thing that happened one time was I had a bit of head pain for 24 hours afterwards, and I had a bit of chest pressure for a few days afterwards, but that lifted. And I've been anemic a couple of times when I did that. So there are things that you need, if you're going to try it, there are things that you need to do in order to try to prevent any negative things happening, and maintaining your iron levels and eating a very nutrient rich diet, because I'm told it's not just, you know, when you're taking what might be in there, the bad stuff out, you're taking good stuff too. So you need to make sure that you're putting those nutrients back into your blood quite quickly afterwards. What happens generally in the first couple of weeks is I have my cognitive functions are working totally fine again. I have more energy, and I feel it in things like I can walk up the stairs at a decent I'm not kind of, you know, holding onto the wall or the banister as I'm going up, and like at the end of it I'm not like this. I can actually just walk up the stairs. I don't exercise or anything anymore, but I can just walk like a normal person at a fairly decent pace for a limited amount of time. So I have that for a couple of weeks. Cognitive functions come back, so I can think as quickly as I normally do. I can communicate the way I'm communicating with you now. So this is in a 2-month cycle. When I get to the end of it, the last 2 weeks, I just go down and down and down, and there's absolutely nothing I can do. It doesn't matter how much I rest. It doesn't matter what I'm doing with my food. I'm just going, and there's no stopping it. And by the time I get to the end of the 2 months, I'm a zombie on the sofa again. So, and then I have phlebotomy again, and the whole cycle starts again. I notice day 56, almost on the dot, is when I can no longer function. And 56 days, I believe, is how long it takes for your body to completely replenish anything it's donated or I don't encourage anybody to donate blood, actually, in our community. I'm quite strong about that, and a lot of people have asked me, oh, if I go and donate blood, then will I have the same effect? And I think it's really irresponsible. We don't know what's going on with our blood. Get it done privately. You know, find a phlebotomist who can do it responsibly, but don't donate so it goes into the system. We just don't know what's going on with our blood at all. I don't have anybody looking into it. I don't know. I contacted so many hematologists and asked them would they be interested in trying to look at what's behind this. I did eventually find a hematologist. I've only had one appointment with her, and she is actually advising against doing it. And my second functional medicine practitioner, she also has said, I do not advise that you do this. So I have to be upfront and say that I've had 2 healthcare professionals advise against it. I've had other people who've talked about the benefits of doing it, and it is something that people have done for other things, and perhaps not in quite such an intense way. And sometimes I feel myself thinking, gosh, is all of this just a horrible dream? As long as I'm really careful, then I can have what I call it, I've got meaning to my life again. So it brings back, for me, it allows me to have a meaningful life, not all day or any, definitely not, but at least for a few hours every day.